Round one. DJ Dance versus the obstacles of life. Fight!
Time right. It's almost time, baby. You ready?
I'm so ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Now, make sure y'all hitting the thumbs up. Make sure y'all comment and let us know where y'all tuning in from. The show Get 'Em to the Metaverse is about to start. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
Come on, make some noise. Put some fire emojis in the comment section. It's about to be insane. It's about to be insane. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. Woo, man.
Hey, everybody.
Yo. Y'all know what it is. It's time.
Hey.
It's time. It's time. It's Joy Rain over there. It is Jay Dunn over here. And it's get 'em to the Metaverse. We gotta get 'em to the Metaverse. Let's go. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. Can you not see the excitement on our face right now? Let me get a little serious. Man, this is gonna be a show. Okay, this is gonna be a show. Hold on. Let me first give a shout out to the baby boo, the baddie, the Metaverse baddie herself. Joy Rain in the building. Baby, how you feeling today? How you feeling?
I am feeling amazing. Hey, everybody. Thank you again so much for tuning in to Get Into the Metaverse. We are so excited and we cannot wait for you to see what we have in store.
That's it. Listen, we are so excited. And look, let me tell you about my day. Real quick. Hold on. Let me tell you about my day. It was awesome. That's all I got to say about that. It was awesome. Man, I see y'all in the building. We got Meta News in the building. Make some noise for Meta News.
Yes.
Yes, Ryan, my bro from Immersed. What's good with you, man? It's good to see you in the building. Yes. Look, we got our sis D in the building as well with the fire emojis. Breezy say, super stoked for the episode. We appreciate you.
Breezy.
And then Dame live, of course. Dame gotta be on.
Let's go, Dame.
And we had an early from Tribe Wolf and his wife in the building from amazing VR couple. So we got to get some couple gaming in, some VR date nights in. And of course, we got our bro, Hardy West, in the building.
Hardy West.
Listen.
Hey there.
Y'all, get them to the Metaverse. Okay. All right. Now we got some cool stuff today. We got some cool stuff. We got some new scenes we want to show y'all. All right, so we about to get into it. You know, Ryan said it's his first time here. It won't be your last, bro. It won't be your last. And even Immersed, which, it makes sense that Immersed is in
Hey,
the building.
Immersed.
It makes sense Immersed is in the building. We super excited to see the fam in the building. That's fam right there, man. And if y'all saw, we gonna talk about it. In fact, you ready to get into the breaking news? You ready to get into the breaking news?
Let's get into it. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into the breaking news. I hope y'all like our scene. Look at this. Look at that scene. Look at that scene. I just did this. I just did this a few minutes ago.
Oh my
what I'm
gosh.
saying? You know what I'm saying? But thankful that I'm here. But listen, so breaking news today. We got two topics today. The first one is Quest Pro has launched. Listen, Quest Pro has launched. Look at it. Look at
Mine
it
is
in
in
the
the corner
camera.
over there.
Hers is on the corner over there. Some people were saying we didn't really have two of them, but hey, this is
We
one of
got
those
two of
ones right here. Look at this. I'm seeing you in pass through right now.
Oh
It's
my
feeling
gosh.
good, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it off for the show. I'm gonna take it off for the show, man. But listen, the Quest Pro has launched. What's your first initial, love for it? I gotta hear what you got. What was your first?
Okay,
thought
so
for
my
it?
first initial love for it was the color pass through. I mean, that's the first thing that steps out to me.
Yes.
Was like, oh my gosh, I can see you in full color,
Yes, and
It
I was
really
standing there
cool.
in full color looking at you. I was like, yo, I'm full color. Look, we got Kennedy in the building. Good to see you. Some more
Hey
verse fam,
there.
I believe. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, we got Romero in the building. Says
Hi
good to
there.
be here. Good to see you. Good to see you, fam, from Immerse again. But yeah, like that color pass through is incredible. It's one of those big moments when you first see it. You're like, oh my gosh, Now I was in the room with you when you first saw it, and when you first saw just the fidelity of the color, not even the color pass through, just the
Oh,
color of how things look. You
so
was like, what you said?
it
What you
was
said?
super crisp and clear.
Yeah.
We always joked about how your Quest 2 wasn't as clear as my Quest 2. Well, when we put the Quest Pro on, it was like it blew it out of the water. And I was like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
she had
look
Mark
how crystal
Zuckerberg's Quest
clear.
too, man. Her stuff was like super crazy clear compared to mine. Like it was always looking better than mine. I don't understand why that was the case. But yeah, so we just really the color pass through, the color, the fidelity, the graphics. It was lickable. It was lickable, It was just one of them lickable moments, you know what I'm saying?
And
Now,
even the packaging, the
yes, talk
packaging,
about it. Oh,
everything was in its specific place.
come on,
And
packaging.
it was,
Come on, I'm ready.
yeah. I'm
Come
like,
on,
come
packaging.
on.
Come through packaging. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
we paid the $1,500 and they came through with the
They came through
packaging.
with the packaging. You hear me? Beneficial gains in the building. Yeah, bro. Look,
Hey
we
there.
didn't come to play no games, man. It was incredible what Quest Pro was able to do. And talking about Quest Pro is kind of crazy because there's another part of our breaking news we about to get into, and it's called. So we had Quest Pro launch, and so the next one is Mark Zuckerberg's crunch, man. All right, so like our brother, we love Mark in these streets. Okay, we love a person who is sold out for VR, sold out for the metaverse, sold out for the augmented reality promise to come. So he set off a year ago saying in 10 years and 2030, we're all gonna this is what the metaverse could look like. Now, of course, that was a very much a vision. It wasn't the current state of what could happen today, right? But something's been going on. What's been going on with Mark? What's been going on? What's the news about Mark lately today, mate?
Those, oh my gosh, stocks.
Yeah,
Like,
oh my
stock
goodness.
prices has been dropping
It's been dropping crazy.
significantly.
Yeah, let me see if I could pull up the actual stock price. Like it's insane seeing it
Hmm.
in person. I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Okay, so like look, we're at 97 right now. All right. So now here's the thing. For us, we're like, whoa, let's go jump on
Let's
this
buy
right
in.
now. Let's buy in. Let's get some more shares because we know this is going up. But my goodness, yesterday it was at 129, then 107. Now it's at 97. And I want to say they said something like $100 billion situation. Look, I got my screen seeing like $100 billion loss in this situation. Like it's insane when you think about it. Like, what's your thoughts about that?
I feel like a lot of people are getting really skeptical about what's to come. And
Mm.
so, whenever there's fear, people do certain things and may pull back and everything like that. But once things start to show steady, then it'll go back up.
Oh yeah, look.
Most
I
definitely.
I believe this is what Hardy's trying to say is hold on tight. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
that's it. Dave, we see you, bro, fam, from the mercenaries in the building. We see you,
Hey
fam.
there.
Yeah, but yeah, the price, yeah, dang, right, sis, it's crazy what's going on with the price right now. Like, but I'm bullish. You know, I'm bullish on the metaverse. You know, I like to use that word bullish. I'm bullish on the metaverse. I believe that there's so much more, and that is, in fact, leads into our topic for tonight as well as our guest
Yes.
for tonight. But I want to do one special thing. My wife doesn't know about this. I came across this 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before we went live. Okay, and I just want to show y'all something that's crazy. That's kind of just foreshadowing. Okay, this was
Aww.
the first video we posted together on this same YouTube channel a year ago, a VR date night forever
Oh,
bowl. It was our first couple VR video, right? And it
that's
just
so
shows you we probably I can't even see the subscriber count in there, but I could guarantee you it was like around like 200 subscribers right now. The channel, you know, praise God, is at 1650, I believe, today.
yeah.
So that's just incredible. But just looking at this video almost brought me to tears right before we went live, because
Yeah.
it just shows you how we believe in the metaverse. We've been believing in the metaverse. Look at them young folks on there. You see them
I know,
young?
right?
They look so young. They look so
Y'all
young,
make
man.
sure to check that out. We've had some fun on our
We've had
VR
some
date night, so you make
incredible
sure you check that
fun
out.
on our VR date nights. It's insane. So what we want to do, man, the brother we're about to bring in, he is family, okay? Phenomenal leader, okay? Phenomenal believer, okay? Killing it in Web3, Metaverse, everything above.
Yes.
He is a exceptional. When I say exceptional, I mean the thought process that he's put into making the first real, him and his team making the first real practical economical metaverse is it's insane. And so I had to have my brother to come on, because what he can talk about, because our topic tonight, you want to tell him what the topic tonight is?
Yes. So our topic tonight is, why are people scared of the metaverse? I know that we're coming into Halloween
Yeah.
and it's spooky season and everything, but people are really scared of the metaverse. And we're just going to discuss why and some other things. So,
Yeah, yeah,
let's
yes.
go.
So, without further ado, I'm about to bring this amazing brother in. I want y'all to give a good metaverse welcome, okay? A good metaverse welcome to our brother, Renji Bijoy. Let's go. What's good,
What's
bro?
up? Yo, you like my
Oh,
background?
yeah. Okay, I see you. So, okay,
Hey!
you moved around.
Hey,
You
I
moved
had you
around.
guys were like flexing with those Twitch backgrounds, and I had some white wall on my background. So I was like, all right,
That's it.
let me turn on the light. Let me get the little, Cambria. I
Love
mean,
it.
sorry, Quest Pro right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So how does it hold up? That's the first thing I want to ask you. How does it feel to not have to call it Project Cambria anymore? Like, how does that feel?
I'll be real. I didn't even know. I keep calling it Cambria to everyone externally, and they're like, "What's a Cambria? What are you talking about?" I keep forgetting it's called the Quest Pro. So
Yeah,
it's
bro.
cool. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, man. So first of all, thank you for being a part of Get 'em
yeah.
to the Metaverse. We couldn't.
Yes.
You're the first guest. You're the first official guest.
Oh
Yes.
snap!
You
I
were
feel
the
special
Thank you
now.
so
inaugural
much.
guest. You know, it's incredible what you are doing with Immersed, the entire team, and they're showing up in the chat right now, celebrating you. But just give us a quick 1 minute elevator pitch of who
Yeah,
Renji. Who are you, brother?
yeah,
Hit me
yeah.
with it.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so started Immersed about what 5.5 years ago. Back when working in VR was not cool. It's
Say
crazy.
that.
So real quick, Zuckerberg, he was on his quarterly earnings call. You guys are talking about their stock and stuff. One thing I will say is I really appreciate his conviction in the space. Like everyone is shaming him
Yeah.
right now. Everyone's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And this is what it means to be a founder. He is a person who believes in something that other people don't believe in right now. But to be real, like your boy's about to buy a ton of stock in Meta right now because
Yes.
it's 3.5 times lower than its all-time high, and I truly believe he's going to blow right past that as our world inevitably hits this metaverse sort of thing. So, but what's so crazy, at least about my story, is 5.5 years ago when I was trying to figure out ways to make VR more practical, aka work in VR. Meta wasn't having it from me, right? And
Yeah.
so really up until like 2.5, 3 years ago is when Meta started taking it a little bit more seriously. I would say about 2 years ago. when COVID had hit and everyone's working from home. Jada, I don't know if you know, you're frozen,
Yep,
by the way.
yeah, I see it, man. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
switch
There
cameras.
you
We gonna
go.
There you
switch cameras.
go.
Don't worry about it. We
Uh,
gonna fix it. We got
for sure.
backups on backups. We
Yeah.
gonna
And
keep it
so,
going.
when COVID had hit, I was really telling Meta, like, dude, y'all need to take this seriously. Everyone's working from home. VR is a great way to build a virtual office so everyone can
Yeah,
be in the same office together as if they
Yeah.
were in person.
yeah.
And then they started taking it really seriously. Immersed was the first non-gaming app on the Oculus Store, which is a
Come on,
huge
bro.
Wow.
accomplishment for us, a huge accomplishment for all of VR. I think 3 or 4 months later, I was I believe the second. Well, the other one was so there was two people who are kind of VR focused who were on Forbes 30 under 30, and the other one was more focused on like news and PR. So we were the first consumer focused product building company on
Wow.
Wow.
Forbes that was VR focused. So
Congratulations.
yeah, thanks. It was December 2020, so about 2 years ago. And it was, what the cool thing about it was it helped put VR on the map. And so back when that had happened, a ton of Meta employees as well were blowing up all over LinkedIn and Twitter about how there's a founder focused on VR consumer apps
Yeah.
on the Forbes list. And so all that to say, it's been really cool to kind of be on a journey and kind of shape and shift culture. And what I mean
Mm-hmm.
by that is like, I mean, I knew all the kind of naysayers way back when, and I'm not holding it against them because a lot of them have changed their perspective. A lot of them are like, you know what, you're right. This makes sense. It's happening. And, you know, there's plenty of things in the past that I didn't think was going to happen and then it did. And so I became a believer in certain things. I think likewise, as people are shaping and shifting their perspective on things, as opposed to, you know, just pointing your finger and poking fun and saying, oh, I told you all, y'all should have listened. You know, it's really important to really kind of embrace them and get them to be part of the conversation. And to be real, like, you know, 5 years, 10 years from now, everyone's going to be using it and they're vaguely going to remember a world in which they didn't believe in the metaverse. So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, being a CEO and founder of Immersed, I know that you can relate a lot to Mark Zuckerberg, and people may not believe you on what your vision was. And so, how have you dealt with that? How have you handled that? Do you feel like you have carried it with,
Yeah.
just how do you feel about that?
You're saying more recently or a long time ago?
When you first started.
First started. Yeah, I mean, when I first started, part of it was like I didn't even come from the VR world myself. I was just a general technologist. I was focused on web development. Then I had quit that because I felt like I kind of accomplished or learned what I wanted to learn in the web
Mhm.
world. I then shifted towards a PhD in computer vision and machine learning. So things like self-driving cars, like Teslas, for example, or
Mhm.
or autonomous drones. So I was interviewing with like Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and like working with the Department of Defense and things like that. And so it was really cool because I got to learn a lot of different types of technologies.
Mhm.
But both of those contexts before, you know, large tech companies and then research, both of those just didn't necessarily have the type of DNA that I had. I didn't even, I almost didn't even realize, like, I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. And then I
Mhm.
found the startup world, which, you know, it was a world that's focused on, you know, shipping or deploying product very, very quickly, learning from users, interacting with users, and making an impact in their lives. You know, some of our users are here in the chat.
Mhm.
It's been really cool to see how Immersed and its product has really shaped the way that they do work. And so, one thing that's been really cool is over the years, even, you know, way back in the early days, Immersed just, even I was trying to figure out what this was, right? Like, yes, it was a
Mhm.
startup. I had no understanding or I didn't know if this was gonna be a thing for sure, right? There
Mhm.
were times along the way where we thought we were gonna shut down, and even now, it's like, okay, well, technically, we're not entitled towards long-term success.
Mhm.
We don't know that this is guaranteed to happen, right? Like, what if some crazy world that I don't believe is going to happen, but imagine some crazy world in which, you know, Zuckerberg's stock tanks all the way down to like zero, and like Facebook is no longer a thing because he invested too heavily towards the metaverse
Mhm.
too early, and Facebook was wiped off the planet. Like, that's a crazy world to live in. And so for
Yeah.
me in the early days, I'm thankful that we got in when we did. We had to build a lot of the plumbing for what Immersed is today. So an analogy would be, imagine if Mark Zuckerberg back in 2004 when he first started Facebook had to not only build the Facebook website but also
Mhm.
had to build the browser, right? Like Chrome or Opera or Firefox or Mozilla, or whatever you used to use back then. Imagine if you had to
Yeah.
build the browser first and then the Facebook website on top of that.
Oh
That's kind of what
goodness.
Immerse has had to do, yeah, for the past 5.5 years, is not just build our core application, but a lot of the plumbing behind the scenes that made it possible to even have uh, portable, wireless, high definition, high refresh rate screens in VR. That just wasn't a thing when we first got started. We legit Immersed was the first company on the planet. Like there are other apps in the space that had virtual screens in VR by
Mhm.
plugging it in, but we
Come
were the
on.
first one to do it wireless. And so
Awesome.
it was really cool to build that first version, and then we started seeing others trying to come out with their versions in like 2019, about 2 years later. And then now, fast forward to today,
Come on.
even Workrooms is coming out with wireless virtual screens. So it's cool
Yeah.
that what we have built is something that people find valuable.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, because Meta is not able to dictate or even influence the direction that Immerse goes, it makes sense that they have their own work product,
Wow.
and so
Yes.
that they can kind of shape and shift that how they need to.
Mhm.
Likewise with us, the cool thing is we learn from them, they learn from us, and like it's really cool to see how they've come up with some pretty low friction ways of getting people onto the product, and so we're quite literally learning from them as well. And so there are things that we're going to be stripping out of Immerse to make it a little bit more simple, while still having a very high savviness or techie type customization ability in our app as well. So super excited for what we're building.
Man, that was a
Yeah,
mouthful.
that was awesome.
My bad, I'm long-winded, man.
No, I'm the
No,
same. I'm the same. Listen. I am very much the same. So number one, I am in love with the product Immerse. So I want to make that very clear. No one paid me to love Immerse. I absolutely. It's one of these applications that shift your world.
Yes.
Steve Jobs. Shift the planet when he showed off the iPod. He shifted the planet when he showed off the iMac. He shifted the planet when he's showing off the iPhone. Now, here's the part about this is what I love about Renji is that that's very powerful that we could talk about Steve Jobs, but then there's people in this chat right now that without their guidance, without their help, I think Renji is quoted as saying he hires people who know better than him in so many other different areas, right? And so it's very powerful when you get to see a person build an entire company and start from nothing, start in the area where most people, the friction, this is the Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and early days of computing. This is the early days of spatial computing, right? So these companies are just coming up. It's these ideas, you got to think about going back to the 80s when the first Macintosh came out. No one knew the mouse pointer, no one saw the graphic user interface and was like, in fact, Xerox PARC, the people who owned them was like, yeah, we're not using this. Give that to somebody else, So now we're at the beginning stages of spatial computing, and Immerse, honestly, is absolutely the best product to show what what spatial computing is all about. It's incredible. You get on Twitter today, and I'm scrolling through. I'm on tech Twitter, paying attention, and it's like every so often you see a workroom quote like, "Oh man, I just wish I could do this," and then the next line under is just download Immerse. Just download it. How does that make you feel, bro? When you see that, like, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, man, like every single time we have some sort of external market condition that helps kind of push a wave that we're kind of riding on, like a surfer, what analogy you want to use. Like, for example, back when COVID had hit, we saw a random influx of people come to our website, and that was not of our own doing. When the Quest 2 came out, like we just saw a wave, or actually before that, when Immerse got into the Oculus Store, we just saw a wave of users on board to the product. When the Quest 2 came out, we saw a wave of users come on. And now with the Quest Pro, we see a wave of people coming on. So it's really cool to see this world kind of even shape and shift, even whether or not Immerse does anything. Meaning, obviously, yes, we're focused on creating a great product, but I am also sober-minded to the idea that we're not pulling ourselves up from our bootstraps and making all of this, mustering up our willpower to make this happen. Like it's a combo of both, right? I'm not saying that we're just riding the wave and we get to just luck out and capitalize on it, but we do get to kind of partner with the market and build something that users want. So it's been really cool to see some of our Twitter videos hit I think 200, 300K views. There's really like on Twitter, right? It's not even like TikTok; it's like Twitter. Right?
Let's
it's
talk.
Crazy to see that.
Go ahead, because she got a question.
When
on that.
when I was on my Twitter, that video that J Dunn had pulled up was all on. It was all flooding my Twitter. And how does it feel to have your product go hand in hand with the Quest Pro? Like,
yeah, it's crazy because
people thought that it was a Meta product.
Yeah. I mean, we literally, like, I literally got a text right after the MetaQuest announcement from a top tier VC, like one of the world's top VCs, venture capital firms, text me saying, "Yo, did Zuckerberg quite literally just build a headset for Immerse? That's what this seems like." I was like, "Hey, if you want to do a round, if you want to grow this company alongside me, let me know." And so, obviously, they're watching us along the Quest Pro launch. Immerse is doing whatever it can to retain as many of those users and keep letting that compound and grow our daily active user count so that we can obviously at some point turn on a level of monetization, become a lot more self-sustaining as a company, and thus be able to take in VC or venture capital money and then be able to add rocket fuel to this fire and hopefully launch to the moon. So we're really excited to see the traction that's already organically coming towards us. Our team also realizes though, like that can be squandered very easily. We can very easily just do nothing with it. We have to take this fire hose and channel it towards a bucket that doesn't have that isn't a leaky bucket. Like we need to make sure that the holes are plugged, that we're retaining this as much as possible because it might be a drought in the future. We got to make sure that we can retain as much as possible, man.
100%, 100%.
Yes.
I'm going to check in a little bit to the audience real quick. What up, Skiva? It's great to see you in the
Hey
building.
there.
Great VR legends in the building as well. Deval, we see you in here as well. Let's see who else we got. Oh, we got an awesome comment from D saying, "Thanks, bro, for introducing me to Immerse. I really enjoy it as well." Man, that is great to hear. Usability. Listen, we dropped a few reels on our channel showing off Immerse. Like I said, once again, just love for the product. And it's been incredible seeing people's response to it and loving it. And that's one of the things too, like, tell people why you said this. I've listened to you. Look, man, I'm a fan of Renji, man. So I've heard you speak on multiple Twitter Spaces, and you make a mention about it's not so much that you don't want to work with people or you like working from home. It's that you don't like working from home that you built Immerse. Can you go a little bit into that as your philosophy on that?
It's funny because way back when I started Immerse, the actual event that made this thing trigger in my mind was we were part of this accelerator program called Techstars. It's one of the world's top accelerator programs. So companies like Twilio, SendGrid, DigitalOcean, ClassPass, those companies went through Techstars, which is the direct competitor to Y Combinator, which you probably have also heard of, like Airbnb, Dropbox, Reddit, Twitch, Stripe. And so we were finalists at both. We went through Techstars because it was more business focused, whereas YC is more product focused. Went through Techstars. They taught us things like, more than just building a product, since I had a product building background. They taught us things like legal, hiring, finance, fundraising, marketing, etc. And so it was really cool because it was a boot camp where I could learn all these things. But the hard part was they said before the program started, apologize to all your friends and family, but you're just not going to be seeing them for the next 12 weeks. And they weren't kidding. It sounds funny, but they were legit.
Wow.
So they had us from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. And so like for 7 days a week for 12 weeks straight. And so what I will say is I'll never do it again, but it was definitely worth it while I was there. It was definitely hard on my team. And one Friday, I just decided to let my team work from home. And back then we used to use Slack as sort of our main way to communicate. And I would see their online green indicator symbol saying that they're online, they're readily available, whatever. But I was the only one in the office and I legit felt lonely. And so Immerse is actually born out of this idea of, well, what if there's a way, even if you're remote, for us to be able to physically almost be together? And that's where I then bought my first Google Cardboard. It was this like $20 piece of cardboard that has plastic lenses in it. You put your iPhone in it, and then you can kind of try these little Google Daydream experiences. But I ended up creating the first prototype of this thing. And yeah, like I didn't really even know kind of what this would lead to. I didn't really know why this was going to be important. I just knew that I'd seen multiple times in the past where at my previous jobs, more and more people were working from home. And I was like, all right, I know that today, back in 2017, this is not a like horrible problem because most people still worked in the office. But I realized that as every year, as I was growing in my career, I would see more and more people working from home, especially in the software engineering world. We would Skype into our meetings if we were working from home. And I was like, man, if this is going to continue to be a bigger and bigger problem in the future, then I just want to make sure that I'm the sort of person really tackling this problem. Because even back then I used to say video conferencing and chat just cannot be the state of the art of remote collaboration. And fast forward 5.5 years, it still is. And so I'm really grateful that we're kind of moving in this direction, or at least our world is starting to understand this. And it's really cool that the tech giants are starting to see that too.
100%. Miguel says Immerse is the future. Yes, indeed, we do believe. So what's the
Yes.
go ahead. I was getting ready. I was like excited. All right,
Oh,
go ahead.
real quick, I guess just to tie back what I was saying to what you
Yeah.
were saying is like the idea of immersed wasn't born out of the ideas of I want to work from home. It's quite literally because we felt lonely when we were remote. How do we sort of bring people together? And so kind of the maybe the slogan or whatever you want to call it, the mantra that we say, or the quote really is, we're not building immersed because we love remote work. We're building immersed because we hate remote work
Yeah.
and we want to unite everyone.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Most definitely. And that actually ties into what we were going to talk about as far as why people are scared of the metaverse. In the Harris poll, I'm going to read this. The Harris poll shows that 52% of people ages 18 to 54 fears that they could lose pre-existing relationships being in the metaverse and also having the ability to form new ones. And so I know with Immerse, when you're in this the app, and you can sit there and be like in this how can I say, coffee shop type feel, or you're in a like an office space when you're with other people from all over, that just kind of nips that in the bud right there, feeling like you'll be lonely, or losing pre-existing relationships, or even forming new ones.
Yeah. One of the things I love most about Immerse, and one of the things that drew me to it the most, was the whole point of co-presence and
Hmm.
connection, which goes back to call back to last week's episode about social is the selling point of the metaverse.
Yes.
The best part about it is be able to go to the arbitrarium or go into the cafe and literally be able to sit next to other mercenaries or other folks who are just coming into the platform and being able to have side conversations. You have a person from Argentina over here, you got someone over in Europe, you got some. It's the most insane thing to feel, and it's just the point that you got your screens up, you can mute when you need to, go in a private room when
Yeah.
you need to, but then be able to go right back in. And so I missed it. I used to be able to do that a lot more, and I haven't been able to do that, but I got to get back into that. But I would love to know. The co-presence piece, because people, we was on a Twitter space a few weeks ago and someone said, I'm afraid of what, just like Joy was saying, I'm afraid of what is going to happen because we're in these headsets, and so I want human interaction, and I wanted to I came off mute and I raised my hand, but I just didn't get to it fast enough. I was like, listen, I have way more interaction in the metaverse, it seems, with
Most
people than
definitely.
I do in real life, unfortunately. So you want to speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think people who are afraid of this metaverse, like they don't realize that the tech giants who are pouring dozens of billions of dollars into these next generation headsets or glasses or whatever this metaverse form factor hardware is going to look like, these tech giants are financially incentivized to make sure it's an experience that people want to be in. Otherwise, they don't make money. And
Correct.
otherwise, these tech
Hmm.
giants, even from a selfish standpoint, right? So, whether it be people hoping that these tech giants have some sort of altruistic purpose or whatever, which they don't. They have to, be able to report to their shareholders, et cetera. Like people don't want to lose money and things like that. These tech giants are even just financially incentivized to create a great experience for their user base. And so, if it's this scary dystopian escapist type metaverse, it's just not going to do well globally. And so,
Hmm.
number one, I'll say people don't have to be afraid of adopting a metaverse that they don't want to be part of, because that is pretty intrinsically just not going to happen. Like just by sheer virtue of what it means to adopt a product, it needs to be a good, compelling product that people want to use. And so they're going to figure out a way to get people to adopt a product that likely won't be competing with the real world, but instead complementary or supplementary to the real world, right? Like think about even
Definitely.
Instagram, for example, right? Like
Hmm.
Instagram on my phone, it's though there are some people who just like are like this 24 hours a day, sure, whatever, maybe. But if people become so addicted to something that they end up realizing, oh, this is damaging my life, and then they delete the whole app, well, that
Yeah.
defeats the purpose, right? And so that's why
Yeah.
100%.
you'll start seeing things like TikTok incorporating digital well-being, and so it essentially
Hmm.
puts a timer or a limit on how much, just to remind you, hey, get off the thing, so
Yep.
that
Yeah.
because for them it's the longevity they can get out of you, the more money they make, as opposed to just doing an 8-hour session and then deleting the app because you're upset at yourself, right, for using it that much.
Exactly.
Likewise, when it comes to this metaverse, if your eyeballs are glued to the lenses, like, and then someday you realize that you're now 200 pounds lighter because you're not eating, and like you're just it's something that is going to prevent people from adopting that metaverse. So likewise, when it comes to building a metaverse that's actually compelling, is something that needs to have longevity, it's something that's healthy for people, something that actually fits into the current world. Another analogy would be back in the, maybe 10, 15 years ago when people would talk about self-driving cars or autonomous vehicles, they would talk about how, oh, we could create like this car matrix where all the cars on the road talk to each other and like all the cars are almost like plugged into the road or like whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah, but the part that sucks is there's current infrastructure in place that already is pre-existing. So if everyone doesn't abide by that, there is no car matrix. You have to create cars that are independent agents in that world that actually coexist with other pre-existing cars that don't have autonomy, right? So likewise, when and that's why Tesla was able to figure this out, and all the others haven't, because the others are still hooked on this car matrix idea, which is not going to happen unless you get all the manual cars off the road as well. Likewise, when it comes to building a metaverse, if it's something that doesn't plug into the current world, well, too many people are going to feel disconnected from the real world, and thus they're not going to adopt it. And so you have to build something that takes the real world along for the ride, step by step by step, over the course of months and years. And eventually, it's something that they would adopt. And if it's something that is not compelling or something that they're afraid of, they're just not going to adopt it, and it's not going to be successful. So,
wow, that's crazy.
Yes.
Thinking about it, I was just listening to a podcast. We were talking about the depth sensor, being removed from the Quest Pro, and then how, really software related, it can kind of do a lot more, like what Tesla is doing, and where other ones are using LiDAR and other types of tools. They're trying to use 2D cameras and stereo cameras to actually capture information around it. And I know you drive a Tesla. You've posted about it, like how it has the self-driving beta and the 3D map is making and turning and things like that. And so, you begin to look at these technologies as really just the beginning of where we are today. When you talk about the iPhone, I was talking to someone today that was like, man, you remember the iPhone 3GS? I'm like, yeah, that was the first one that had video. I'm weird. I remember stuff. He was like, then you have an iPhone 4S. I said, that was the first one with Siri. iPhone 5S, that was the first one with 64-bit. And I started going up this pipeline, and he was like, wow, you really know your stuff. I said, yeah, because I was a part of every generational jump of the iPhone. And I believe, even with the Quest Pro, this is just the beginning. Even the Pro line has even been said that this is not going to be the last Pro being shown off. So my question to you is this: after using the Quest Pro, have you been able to go back to the Quest 2? Be honest. Be honest. Be honest.
I feel so bad for my team whenever they for those who don't have the Quest Pros. Yeah, we're gonna get people Quest Pros or Picos or whatever they end up wanting, but whenever people try on the Quest Pro and then they have to go back to their Quest 2, they're like, oh, it's like, it's very clearly, it's very different. For me, I had to, so one of the guys on my team actually met Caleb. Caleb was trying a demo of one of the other features that we're building. And when I put on, and he was like, hey, check this out. And he was handing me his Quest 2. When I put it on, I forgot how, because I've been working in the Quest Pro, this thing for, I guess, coming up on 12 months now, since last October when Meta first gave it to us.
My goodness.
And
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. Like we were actually, I don't know if you know this, we were actually the first company that they gave Quest Pros to. And so that's why we really appreciate kind of how much Meta has really worked alongside us to bring this to fruition. But I ended up putting on Caleb's Quest 2, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how blurry this stuff used to be, because you get so used to high quality, clarity. Like there's no chromatic aberration where you see like the red and blue, like circles around stuff. There's no, like the pixel density is not nearly as good. It's heavier, it's hotter. It's just like, man. And it's funny because when you have the Quest 2 and then you try the Quest 1, you're like, oh, the Quest 2 is so much better. But then you try the Quest 1 and Oculus Go, it's so crazy how over the course of time we become so spoiled without realizing it.
Let me say this. I literally, yesterday, me and Hardy, he's in the chat. He was like, man, you want to go play on PokerStars? I'm like, yeah, man, my Quest Pro was charging. Look, I got it right here because I can't go nowhere without it now. It was charging, so I'm like, I'm going to go get the Quest 2. I put it on my face, right? And I immediately took it off my face because I was like, what in the heck am I looking at? And I've only had it for 2 days. So I can't imagine having it for 12 months and then having to put on this. And I love the Quest 2. I love you, Quest 2. I love you so much. You were the beginning of, well, not the beginning, but you was definitely a part of the journey. But the Quest Pro just, it's gorgeous, man. It's I like to call it, it's lickable. It's gorgeous. It's lickable. I love it. Look. Meta Barbie in the building says Renji is very intelligent. Great way to break it down. Yes, he's pretty intelligent, man. He's not bad. He's not a bad guy. Ryan says I can't go back. Renji can't make me. It's so much better for Immersed, and it is. Yes, it very much is. The pastor is not great. Duvall says, yeah. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get back to our 3 screen here so we can all have our faces on. I'm gonna say this for the pastor because we've had the Quest 2. We've talked about this last week. To talk about the week before, the updates. I saw someone make an article. I think it was Android Central said the Quest 2 is the most updated console ever. The way when we first got our Quest 2s in October of 2020 versus what the Quest 2 can do today, from hand tracking 1.5 to 2.0 to now they got 2.1 coming. The pass through API opening up for developers like Immersed to do things, being able to even use pass through, because at one time you couldn't even use it, to have all the different recording features now. Just it's crazy. And even the pass through has gotten clearer over time. So I believe personally, when people talk about the Pico 4, which is a great part, we gonna talk about that at one point, maybe have one in the building. But when people talk about the Pico 4, the one thing you have to understand is there's one camera that's doing the color, where with the Quest Pro, and quote me, I'm misquoting, help me out, Renji, but basically there's two stereo cameras, and then there's the color that's being added and layered on top. So the real depth is there, and so there's a lot more, and they're trying to do a lot more in software. So over time, it's just going to get even better.
Yeah, kind of the way it works is the two cameras are not in color, and then they have one camera in the center that actually has the color. It's an actual RGB red, green, blue camera. And the reason why it's kind of that weird approach is because the two cameras on the sides or the stereo cameras do a lot more than just bring color pass through in. They do things like something called simultaneously localization and mapping, where essentially the headset is able to track itself in 3D space. So the actual cameras themselves help with being able to tell the disparity or the differences in the two images, and then triangulates back to the headset's own positioning. And then the camera in the center, what it does is, for the pixels that are the same in each of the two cameras, it then adds that color pixel to each one of the pixels that are the same in each of the cameras. But you'll notice some of the things that get really close to your actual face, like if this gets too close to the headset, this camera is going to see one side of your hand, this camera is going to see the other side of your hand, and the center camera is not going to be able to assign some colors to some of the missing pixels on each side. And so you'll see some of the parts are still gray. And so the point is, it's a very, and that's why it kind of seems like it's not even full color pass through. Really, it does a good job for things that are further away. But for things that, like, for example, in this eye, I see this part of my finger, and this eye, I see this part of my finger. What's only going to color the center of my finger, because that's the pixels that it can for sure assign a color pixel to, because it knows that pixel is that color. Whereas the different angles, it doesn't see, because it's a center camera, it doesn't see those things. So all that to say, it's really interesting to see the approach that they took. It makes sense for keeping it lightweight, low computation, just to make this thing not overheat. But as you know, the XR3, I know it has like an XR2 Plus, which is really cool that Qualcomm worked directly with Meta on that. It's the only headset that has the XR2 Plus. Everything else has the previous XR2. Generation XR2 that the Quest 2 has. It'll be cool when the XR3 comes out later next year. I'm excited to see what headsets have that and how much of a step up it's going to be from the XR2 Plus. I'm really excited.
Man, we know it's right behind you. We know, bro. You don't. It's no. It's not the other headset. It's right behind you. You can just go ahead and grab it.
Oh,
and
that
show
one
it
right
off.
there.
Yeah, that one right over there. And we know the Apple.
I'll show you the little corner of it.
Yeah,
the little corner of it right there.
Yeah, there you go. And the Apple one's right behind you. We know you got it, man. But no, seriously, like it's incredible, and we don't even have to get into the rest of it because it's just a lot to it. Because here's the thing: this is the portal. This is a great portal into the metaverse, and I think that's the fear, right? So people think, they look at this form factor and they immediately go, I gotta do this, I gotta put this on my head to enter into the metaverse, not realizing the metaverse is more than just VR. It's more than just it's AR, it's XR, it's web, it's everything, it's every portion of it, right? So it's not just using this device. And that's why I'm intrigued by some of the things that you guys are doing with Web3 and the metaverse project that you want to, I don't know if you want to lead into that a little bit and just talk about that a little bit more, about what you guys are trying to do with the metaverse.
Yeah, what we realized is, so according to some of the people at Meta, they told me about how Immersed is actually the only VR app like that they have documented that people are consistently using 40 hours a week, 40, 50 hours a week, every week. There's quite literally not a second VR app that does that. And so because Immersed is essentially clocking some pretty crazy user usage hours each week, we realized that we have sort of a unique opportunity to do more than just allow people to work in VR, but allowing people to really start building businesses in this metaverse and employ people in this metaverse and transact goods and services and experiences in this metaverse, and ultimately, quite literally, try to get the world's economy into immersed metaverse. And so it's kind of like if you think about how Jeff Bezos, maybe back in 25 years ago, before Amazon was the main way that we did shopping, if he was telling people in the 90s, oh, hey, like, 5-10 years from now, everyone's going to be shopping online instead of buying stuff in brick and mortar stores, people would be like, what are you talking about? Likewise, fast forward to today, when we're telling people, hey, most of your shopping or your transactions or the things that you'll be engaging with is not even going to be on a two-dimensional web browser anymore. It's going to be experiential. It's going to be in a headset. Yeah. People today are going to be like, what are you talking about? It's quite literally just going to be a digital version of the real world that we live in now, but it's going to be a much more convenient version of that because it's going to be on a headset or a pair of glasses. So, yeah, I guess Jayden's pulling up the metaverse trailer that we have here. We're trying to show people that they can do more than just work in our metaverse. That we're going to release virtual. We've just released virtual Manhattan, so that's kind of what you see here. Obviously, as avatars, you can engage with other people there. It talks about building communities, and so you actually build relationships with people. So it's not just have your computer screens and just code all day or write emails all day. But actually build relationships here, right? You can actually go to a concert with your friends, and you'll kind of see it'll fast forward to people being able to go to virtual campuses. So imagine being able to be on site with your professor, with other students, instead of just doing online courses with videos. Yeah, you could just literally be on campus, right? And say, for example, you're in an architecture class and now you learn how to architect. Well, now why don't you just build whatever you learned from that class into a skyscraper virtually, right? And then be able to sell that building or rent it out to people, right? Cool co-working spaces, right? Because people work all day, every day in Immersed. Want to be able to provide really cool spaces for them to be able to work out if they want a change of scenery all the time. So, here's an example of a co-working space where people are really just engaging with one another, some of them working behind their screens. And then obviously if you want to break after work, you could then just beam over to an experience like this, right? Where you're at a concert venue. That's my boy Lecrae right there.
Yeah.
Awesome hip hop artist. Yeah. And be able to experience more than just working in VR or, conducting business. I mean, also be entertained, right? And obviously for Lecrae, that's his business. And so as motion body capture is a standard thing on these headsets, face tracking, eye tracking, mouth tracking, limb tracking, leg tracking, all of that, these experiences are now possible. And so because Immersed has created the world's sort of first metaverse economy, we want people to start being able to stake their claim in this metaverse, right? So we opened up our first version of virtual, or only version, but our first city of virtual Manhattan. You can go to immersed.com, click map at the top if you want, and that'll actually let you kind of see the actual map. I believe you got the login. Are you logged in? Oh, it was almost clutch.
Oh,
but he said, wait.
I'm gonna do it while you're not paying attention. I'm gonna do it while you're not paying attention. Go ahead.
You're fine. Yeah, but so essentially that map shows you where all the different plots are that people could actually stake their claim in our metaverse. They actually were using non-fungible token technology. It's a blockchain technology that allows people to actually quite literally, like physically, digitally own that virtual plot of real estate in virtual Manhattan. So we're only going to have one virtual Manhattan in Immersed Metaverse ever. There's only going to be 10,000 plots. You'll see all the grayed out ones here are the ones that people already purchased, right? So click one of those bigger squares. Those are the skyscrapers that have already been taken. The one to the right of that is a skyscraper. So it's really cool that people are able to stake their claim in this metaverse and be able to, whether say, for example, you're just a real estate developer, you want to build a cool lot and then rent out office space. Okay, it could be, going to go boring like that if you want to. It's a good financial business. Because think about a world where, say, Accenture says, hey, we bought 60,000 Quest Pros now, and we want all of our people who are working from home to work in the virtual office immersed. How do they do that? Well, I tell them, Jay Dunn bought a skyscraper, and now you can rent out floors directly from him.
Hold on.
Now he's your landlord.
Hold on. You know what I'm saying? You could come rent out some space at my spot. You know what I'm saying? I'll make sure you get a good price. You know what I'm saying? But legitimately, you guys are building a real, true metaverse where you get to work, play and
Yeah.
engage others, and it's an economy of itself, right? So give us the pipeline. Give us the pipeline. How is this? What we got to do to get into this thing? Because I'm about ready to drop some more. I don't. Is
Yeah.
it immerse coins? What am I dropping on? What am I doing?
Yeah, so ultimately, people can purchase their virtual real estate if they go to immerse.com/map or just click map at the top. And obviously, after you own that, we're actually going to be holding a conference here in Austin, Texas called ImmerseCon. So we'll be teaching our builders how do they essentially build virtual businesses in our metaverse that we're building. We announced that we're partnered with Polygon, which is the world's #1 layer 2 blockchain built on Ethereum. If that makes any sense to most people or not. And then also we partnered with Republic Crypto, which is the world's #1 tokenization firm. So what that means is they ultimately are able to work alongside us to release the world's first work and earn token, which is really cool. What that means is we ultimately are going to be financially rewarding the users who add the most value to our metaverse by doing their day job or working in Immersed metaverse. And so, say for example, if Immersed pays you, I don't know, 50 or $100 per month, or sorry, per week for spending your work week in there. Well, that comes out to 200 or $400 a month, and it's like car insurance per month. It's pretty meaningful amount of money. And for those who don't have high-paying jobs, this is a nice additional supplemental income. They can then take that money and then invest it in virtual real estate, and then make passive revenue through that. Wow. There are ways to compound. This is what's so crazy. I remember reading a stat that said about 150 years ago, there were only 7 billionaires in the United States. Fast forward to today, there's over 700 billionaires in the United States.
Wow.
And obviously that's because of the advent of the internet. And now I believe with the advent of this metaverse, it's actually going to allow people to now have access to virtualizing their businesses. And it makes business building a lot more attainable for people, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, we go from 700 billionaires to, I don't know, thousands of billionaires in the United States, just because the metaverse allows you to virtualize your businesses. Because this is not, our economy is not a zero-sum game. In order for me to make money, you don't need to lose money. We could all ultimately build our wealth together, or build this economy together. And think about a world where 20 years ago, most people didn't have a state-of-the-art phone in their pocket or access to information like they do now. Right. And so the fact that there are more people on our planet, I think about 6 billion people who have access to a smartphone, whereas only 2 billion have access to clean drinking water. That blows my freaking mind.
Wow.
Like, that shows you that this economy
Wow.
is a positive sum game. This economy is something that we can all kind of grow together. And when we have access to this metaverse economy, that's just going to lower the barrier to entry for way more people to virtualize or build their virtual businesses. I'm really excited about that.
That is powerful. That's powerful.
That is
So,
amazing.
Joy, I know you had like maybe one or two other questions you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so let's just take it down a notch, because that was a lot of information. So we're gonna be a little bit lighthearted right
Sorry
now.
about
So let's see. Other than working in the Immersed application, what application do you like playing in, working in, whatever? What would you say to that?
It's funny because people ask me this question all the time. And what's so funny is I'm not a VR person as much as you guys are. Like, for me, I just build the technology because I love being able to use it for work. And Immerse is quite literally the only app that I use. I use other apps to learn from them. I don't use it for like my own purposes, right? Meaning, I will say, one thing that was cool was at the beginning of COVID, when everyone was on lockdown, like they could not leave their homes, me and a couple of friends did play Poker Stars VR to be able to feel like we were together. It was really cool being able to play poker and feel a level of presence together. That was where it's almost like, I think that hit me so hard because I was not allowed to leave my front door. Wow. And so when you're locked down like that, and so all that to say, when it comes to this metaverse future, to be real, there's probably way more people than we know of that actually are not allowed to leave their front door. There's a lot of people who either the government or their parents or whatever situation, maybe abusive situations, whatever, this might be their only channel or lifeline to the rest of the world. And so for me, I take that pretty seriously. And when it comes to building a level of presence and a community that people can feel like they're part of, that's what I really, really care about, right? So that's why I really appreciate a lot of these sort of social VR experiences where it's almost like a community or a family where the real world just didn't accept them. And so like now this is, people make fun of things like Second Life or VR chat or whatever. But people found community there, right? Like people found a family, a place that they could belong, because the outside world just didn't accept them, right? And so I want
Yeah.
Immersed to be that home for a lot of other people too. And so I really appreciate a lot of the social VR apps that are out there.
Yeah, most definitely. I know we found our home in Horizon Worlds, and so shout out to all of our Horizon Worlds family that's on here right now. I know exactly how those people feel, like they found people who can relate to them, who they can talk to, and so it's an amazing thing. And so for those who are watching on here, Renji, what would you tell them to convince them to join the metaverse, other than the the presence and everything? What do you feel that factor is that they will need to join into and get
Yeah.
plugged into the metaverse?
Well, it's funny because a lot of people who maybe 10 years ago said, I will never download Instagram, and they now have Instagram. It's like, you're going to adopt this technology anyway. Like, and to be real,
Yeah.
I was guilty as charged as well. I remember when Instagram first started coming around, my friends and stuff. I remember it was like mainly girls who were on it, and they were like posting pictures of their nails and things like that. Their nails. I was like, I'm not gonna. Why would I ever want Instagram? But then all these dudes started getting it too, and they're posting pictures of like their cars and different things like that. I was like, oh gosh, I guess everyone's getting it. I might as well get it too. And so because we kind of already live in a digital world, like this is kind of our window to this is kind of a window to our like our friends and family. They're all on here, like because we all live in different cities and all that type of stuff. Like this is our window to the world right now. And likewise, eventually this or putting on a headset, that's going to be our window to the world as well. And so because this is inevitable, because people are going to be putting on headsets and glasses 5 years from now, 10 years from now, honestly, even less than that, probably a couple of years from now, when Apple announces their headset, soon here, I bet you way more people are gonna own a headset.
The one that's
who
in
never
the
thought
back
they
of
ever
the room
would.
right there. The one that's
The one that's right back there. Yeah. I told you it's right here, man. I just need to show you this little corner of it. Right
there it is.
Yeah, and I'm
the
kind of
sleep
reminded, kind of like when COVID hit, and the churches, they were like speaking against Facebook beforehand, but then after when COVID hit, everyone was streaming on Facebook, and it's like, wait, hold on, wait a minute now. So is Facebook good or bad? I mean, you're using it, right?
Exactly.
And so now I feel like as time progresses, that's going to happen with the metaverse as well.
Exactly. They're going to use it anyway, so might as well get ahead. And you're going to learn the stuff anyway. Just get ahead. Yeah.
No, what's incredible, and I know we're about to close up, and I want you to have a moment to plug all your socials. But I want to say this because what our mission is at Get 'em to the Metaverse is to make the extraordinary metaverse an ordinary part of life, right? That is our main objective, to make the extraordinary metaverse an ordinary part of life, which means just like the internet, just like everything else that we're using today, like Instagram, Facebook. My mom knows how to use Facebook and Instagram. She knows how to hit the heart button. Pretty soon she's going to know how to take a controller like this and manipulate. She's going to use hand tracking to manipulate screens in front of her for spatial computing, right? So the more and more we get into this space, we begin to understand that the metaverse is not a if, it's just a win, right? It may be named something else differently. It may be given a different title. It may be, we called it information highway back in the day for web, right? So the whole idea is sooner or later, you're going to embrace this, hopefully sooner than later, right? So I just first want to celebrate all of the amazing people we had in the chat. John Lucas said, "This smart. I watched this again to learn more about the economy." Yes. D, I'm not even sure what this was, but hey, we appreciate you, D, for coming in. She's like, "This was me." Well, good. It was good. It was good. It was you. But facts on facts on facts. Amen to Joy as well. Yes, man. We have enjoyed you, Renji, man. This has been a phenomenal time. We respect your time, so we're gonna give you a shout out, a moment where you can just tell people where to find you and where to connect with you more.
Yeah, well, first off, I'll say if you enjoyed this, drop a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Don't forget to give Jay Dunn and Joy some love. But check me out, Renji Bijoy, on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, literally everything. If you just Google it, you'll find Renji Bijoy, or Google Immersed, you'll find it as well. Feel free to reach out, connect with us. We'd love to have you be part of our community as well.
That's right. That's right. Look, man. You see this guy's mug all over the metaverse. You see it. That's why we got his name, Renji Bijoy. You can find him on Instagram, Twitter, all the amazing places. Man, this has been a phenomenal show. We thank you guys again for tuning in to this week's Get 'em to the Metaverse. Any last words from Joy, my Joy? Any last words, sweetheart?
Yes, thank you again to Renji for coming out and sharing that wealth of knowledge with us. And thank you, everyone who took the time to come in and just chill with us, learn some stuff, and take that knowledge and apply it. So thank you again.
That's it. We got all kind of people saying thumbs up. Such a great show.
Yes.
That was great. We appreciate you. And
and I also want to say before you end,
go ahead.
I have to give a big, huge shout out to my husband. This man has been working, y'all, and he has been doing everything he could to make this perfect, and it went amazing. Look, all this stuff is happening. But yeah, it was amazing. So thank you.
I appreciate it, babe. I appreciate it. But y'all, we will see you next week on Get 'em to the Metaverse. We'll see you when we see you. Peace. Hey.